number 12, and you've got a special edition of Pickswise Playbook. It's the Thanksgiving Day edition. I'm your host, Chris Rose, joined as always by our gambling expert, the one and only Jared Smith, and our former NFL offensive lineman, Ross Tucker. So, Ross, I got to start with this. Did you ever play on Thanksgiving Day?
Yes, actually, Chris. I'm glad you brought that up. It was top 5 football memory in my whole life, actually. I had been cut by Washington in October of 2002, picked up on waivers the next day by the Dallas Cowboys. I think it was 3 or 4 weeks later, I was starting on Thanksgiving for Dallas against Washington, the team that had just fired me, and we won. It was awesome. And the thing is that people don't realize, I believe, Chris, you might know this, I've been told that the Cowboys Thanksgiving Day game in particular is like the second most watched game of the season after the Super Bowl. Everybody has it on in their houses, like everybody. Yeah. People might not have the NFC Championship game or whatever. So it was awesome. I was 23. All my buddies watched me. And what made it even better, and I might have already told you guys this story, but whatever, I'm saying it again. The next morning, I flew back to Philly, and that night happened to be my 5th year high school class reunion. I mean, can you imagine if you would have asked me when I was a senior in high school, what do you want for the 5th year high school? I'd be like, I don't know, maybe I start for the Cowboys the day before.
On Thanksgiving Day.
I walked into that thing, every girl that wouldn't hook up with me in high school, I was like, hey, how are you doing? Did you have a nice Thanksgiving? Oh, yeah, it was nice. Didn't get to be with family. I was working, but it was nice. Yeah. Amazing.
I was working.
Amazing. There is a God. There is a God.
I'm grateful. I'm thankful for that story, Ross. Very thankful for that story.
What year was this, by the way?
2002. You know what else is cool? Emmett had like 140 yards rushing, and after the game, he shouted me out on TV because I had been the player of the game the week before, and we ran and he gave me a shout out that a lot of people told me Emmett said your name. That was when, so I think Troy Aikman did the game. It was the first time Troy Aikman did Thanksgiving. So Emmett had something, I don't know if he was eating or the Galloping Gobbler, whatever they have. But Emmett gave me a shout out evidently on national TV, which was pretty cool.
Holy smokes. Yeah, I thought we were going to give people betting tips today. Instead, they're all this is just the feel-good story. Thank you, Ross.
You know what? I haven't done the math, but I think I lost more games than I won in my life. So I'm sticking to this. I'm sticking to the Thanksgiving one.
Doesn't matter.
I'm sticking it to Spurs.
1-0 on Thanksgiving.
Doesn't matter. Quickly, I want to let everybody know that we're doing a 2-part show this week. So today we're just going to handle the 3 games that are coming your way on Thanksgiving, giving you some great information and some tips on how to make Thanksgiving an even better holiday for you. And then we'll be coming up later this week with the Sunday-Monday slate. Okay, so don't worry, we're going to cover all the games. It's just going to be in 2 different parts. Quick reminder as well that you can download our Pickswise app. It's available in the Apple and Google Play Store, so go do that. Keep you updated on the NFL, college football, college hoops, NBA, NHL, anything that satiates your gambling taste buds, if you will. And then finally, we're doing a giveaway here on YouTube, and I need you to pay attention. Comment one player who you think is going to score a touchdown in any of the 3 Thanksgiving Day games, and Pickswise is going to randomly select a subscribing commenter who correctly guessed the player to score, and you'll be eligible to win $100. Now, you have to be a Pickswise YouTube subscriber, which means you don't pay us anything. You just hit the subscribe button, you're subscribed. It just means you're getting our shows. And you have to leave the comment before 12:30 Eastern in order to be eligible. That, of course, is kickoff of the early game in Detroit. Do you understand all that?
That makes sense. You can't comment after who scores after you watch the games.
Right.
It's cheating.
But here's the good thing. In each of the 3 games, you guys are going to lend some helpful tips here. You're going to give us some anytime touchdown scores. So keep your eyes perked open, grab your pen in hand, write them down. If these guys are right, I don't know if you want to send them a special thank you if you end up winning the 100. Could be.
Be nice.
Can I just say, it's one of the things I like the most every week during the season. I want my dudes to score a touchdown for you dudes so bad when I'm watching those games. I'm like, come on, throw it to
Andrew Thomas on Monday night. I thought you would get I figured you would enjoy that one a lot.
I did. I was that was amazing. He's no Robert Hunt, but it was cool.
No, that's a high bar.
All right, guys, let's get to it, and let's start off with the first game in Detroit. Well, the Lions, they're still looking for that first win, although they do have a tie. They do have a tie in the time that the Bears actually have a 5-game losing streak. No Justin Fields in this game. It is going to be Andy Dalton, who nearly led them to a last-second victory in Chicago last week against the Ravens. It didn't work out. Now, the Lions are home dogs on Thanksgiving. Jared, does that mean anything to you?
So the explanatory trend would be it does, because they're 2-10 as an underdog against the spread on Thanksgiving, but they're 4-0 as a favorite. Again, those trends, they don't really do a good job of predicting this game. I think the most important thing with this game is Jared Goff healthy. If he is healthy, that's why the hook evaporated very quickly earlier in the week when they came out and said that he was trending towards starting. Of course, not 100% sure, but it does look that way. I think on the offensive side, I think the Lions have better weapons. Swift, Hawkinson, I think those guys have been more active this season, whereas the Bears, certainly without Justin Fields, I would say are a little more flat offensively. Defensively, I'm concerned about the Bears unit as well. I know Robert Quinn's had a great year, but they have some injuries across the other, key parts of the defensive side. So I'll be honest, I think taking 3 at home with the Lions, they are going to win a game eventually. I am confident of that they are going to win eventually. And maybe the Thanksgiving gods are on their side this year. And I would take the 3 in the hook. Those hooks are probably gone, but I still think taking 3 is a pretty decent bet with Detroit.
So a couple things here. Number one, it's not a good mojo with the Bears right now. Now, ironically, I think Andy Dalton actually gives them a better chance to win than Justin Fields does, although it'll be less entertainment value for us, unfortunately. I mean, have you ever been this bummed out for it to be Andy Dalton and Jared Goff? 5 years ago or 3 years ago, you've been like, oh, these guys are pretty good. Not really. But that's what it looks like we're going to have. I just think with all the Matt Nagy rumors, everything going on there, I just don't think that's good for the Bears. Meanwhile, the Lions, I know they don't have a great track record on Thanksgiving, but they sure as heck put a lot of emphasis on it, and it's important to them. And this does feel like a spot where they could win a game, or at the least, it feels like it'll be a close game. I've had bad luck for the Lions. When I think it's going to be a close game, they get blown out. When I think they're going to get blown out, it's a close game. So I don't know what that means, but I'm taking the Lions plus. I got them plus 3.5 earlier in the week. It's probably like Jared said, no more hook, but that's all right. So you push, no big deal.
I agree.
No, that means by what you just explained to us, it means the Lions are getting blown out.
Maybe
tough to lay points on the road with Andy Dalton. Let's just leave it at that. That's a tough, especially on a short week. And the Nagy stuff, it kind of reminds me like George Costanza. Like he got fired and then he's still going to show up for work anyways. Like there were reports that he was getting fired and then he said he wasn't. It's a very bizarre situation.
Except that Costanza really didn't do anything. And there are probably some Bears fans yelling at us right now saying, right, same with Matt Nagy. But I don't know.
Bizarre. Very bizarre.
Okay. I will just say this, just as a quick aside. He's gone to the playoffs 2 of his 3 years with Mitch Trubisky as his quarterback. Like people talk about Matt Nagy like he's some terrible coach. I mean, how many other coaches would go to the playoffs 2 out of 3 years with Mitch Trubisky as their starter? Good luck.
As a Jets fan, I would trade that for anything right now.
And I think we can all agree that Justin Fields has shown improvement each week.
100%.
And isn't that the goal when you have a young quarterback? I mean, things are not perfect. We have to look at the personnel here too, right? This is not just a Matt Nagy issue. This is a Ryan Pace problem, their GM. And he's
Allen
been
Robinson's big too. I mean, he's the security blanket. If he doesn't play, the weapons on Detroit's side, I think, are a little more explosive.
I cannot believe you just said that.
I know.
You can't even name a Detroit receiver, and you just said that.
Equanimity is St. Brown, right?
I know.
And Swift, listen, Swift ran all over the place against your Browns on Sunday. He had a pretty.
He had a career high in yardage. He's really good, by the way. I hope he doesn't wallow away up there and take so many hits.
So is Hawkinson. He's an all-pro kind of tight end too. I mean, they have guys that can play.
He was really good last year.
Yeah,
he just has good hair this year. All right, a few quick player props here. Hawkinson, speaking of, over under 44.5. Ross,
over. They got no place else to go.
DeAndre Swift, over under 60.5 rushing yards. Jared,
absolutely over. The Bears are clearly showing some cracks defensively.
I can't believe that's only 60.5. I thought maybe
I
that'd
know.
be
That's
160.5
really
based on
low.
what he's. Andy Dalton, over under 205.5. I'll let both of you get in on this. Start with you, Ross.
Ooh.
I'm going to go under. I think they're going to lean heavily on Montgomery because of the weapons they're lacking at receiver. I'll go under, but it's close. I mean, they do a good job setting these numbers.
I think game script will dictate that. I think if the Lions have a lead and they have to rely on Dalton, then that probably goes over because it's just such a low number. But I just don't trust Andy Dalton on the road. Like all of his air yards, like his big play last week was a 5-yard screen and it turned into a 60-yard touchdown. So I would lean under actually.
Okay, here we go. Anytime touchdown score, you give us one each. This is really important because I want people to listen. And then once again, if you subscribe on our YouTube channel, you leave a comment. If you pick somebody from this game and they end up scoring a touchdown, you're going to be entered for a chance to win $100, courtesy of Pickswise. Ross, give me an anytime touchdown.
Yeah, I got to go with a guy that I first saw in 9th grade. Extremely impressive, DeAndre Swift, plus 100. But if a Lion scores a touchdown, it's probably him.
I would say Hawkinson, just because he's been a red zone guy. And I think if Allen Robinson plays, he's on the list right now on Fan. I don't think he's going to play, but if Allen Robinson plays, I think that's a pretty decent bet at plus 135. If you want just one that's going to score, the most likely to score odds-wise is Montgomery at minus 185, but I don't think that's a very good bet.
I don't make choices very often. I just hope you win some money. Chicago D plus 500.
Love it.
Ooh.
Love
Just
it.
saying.
How about Cole Kmet at plus 210? He's been targeted a lot in the red zone. Lately.
Not last week. No, not last week. But yeah.
It's tough because we don't have a lot of numbers on Dalton this year. He hasn't played a ton. It's been mostly field. So
I mean, do you need numbers on Andy Dalton after 11 years in the league?
No, but I'm curious what his numbers are.
Do I need to tell you that he's a redhead and has a weird stash right now? No, you know that.
I do.
All right, let's move on to the afternoon game. According to Ross Tucker, the second most viewed game every year in the NFL behind the Super Bowl because he was the star in 2002 and then some girl kissed him at the high school reunion the next day. There we go. Vegas comes in having lost 3 in a row. They are on the road at Dallas, which lost last week at Kansas City, and their offense looked lost as well. Dallas, more than a touchdown favorite in this one. Ross, what do you like?
I like a couple things. Number one, I like the under. I like the under 51.5. I don't really understand the number. The Raiders have been offensively challenged the last 3 weeks. Mm-hmm. They have not been able to put up very many points, 3 straight games. And the Cowboys defense with my guy Micah Parsons is pretty darn good. They only give up 19 on the road to Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs last week. And then the Cowboys offense, not going to have Amari Cooper again. We'll find out at kick whether or not they have CeeDee Lamb, but it just doesn't feel like they're operating at the same level. Dak hasn't been playing great. Other than the Falcons game, 3 of his 4 worst games are since he came back from the injury. I like the under 51.5 quite a bit.
Love the under. So it dropped from 54, the opener, and we've talked about the key number. We talk about key numbers every week, 3, 7. Key totals are a thing. 51 is the most landed on total in the NFL over the last 5 years. So that's why it is not probably going to drop too much lower than that. I actually saw a little bit of buyback towards the over a little bit earlier in the week towards 51 and a hook. So if you can find 51 on the hook, that's like getting 3 in the hook in the NFL on the side. So that's very favorable. What I'm
seeing right now as we record this is 51.5, by the way.
And that's really favorable. Again, that's like the difference between 3 and 3.5 on the spread side. So 51.5 is a very good bet to the under. Everything Ross says about the way Dallas's offense has looked, especially how it looked in the second half last week after that second injury to their key wide receiver. So now it's Cooper and Lamb. Gallup's been okay. I think Gallup can stretch the field a little bit. And I think Wilson's been, he's had some drops, but I think he's looked athletic. But you can't compare those guys to Lamb and Cooper. So I think that's a huge drop off there. And on the Raiders side, since the bye, they're 0-3, and they've scored combined 43 points against the Bengals, the Giants, and the Chiefs. So I think Vegas physically is healthy, but mentally we've talked about the toll that the Gruden situation and losing their 2 first-round picks. So it's kind of, regression for Vegas after a really good start to the year. And I really like this trend. It's a little short-sighted, but I'll mention it anyways. Thursday games since 2003, when the total is opened 53 or higher, 14-4 to the under. The Thursday games tend to be lower scoring. And that makes sense. Shorter week, less time to prepare. You're just trying to get through it. And it's on Thanksgiving. So I think this is going to be a tighter game. And I think the under is probably my best bet of all the Thanksgiving Day games.
Okay. So, Dallas also a home favorite, as a home favorite, 4-1 against the spread and winning by an average of almost 16 per game. If you want to go that direction, I know that we're talking around a touchdown. That's a big deal, but still wanted to kind of let you know. So just had to throw that out there. Some over-under totals individually. Let's get to it. Dak, 265.5, over or under, Jared?
I would say under, just because of the wide receiver issues. You would think that they're going to, but I'll be honest, I do think they're going to do some short passing game. And if, one of them breaks and, a 75-yard little screen pass, that could trend it over. But my initial lean would be under.
Okay. Hunter Renfrow, over under 5.5 catches, Ross?
Over. I think that the Raiders are going to be trailing in this one. I think they're going to try to come back. And I think he's going to probably get some garbage time production as well. I like the over quite a bit.
Dalton Schultz, 51.5, over under receiving yards. Jared?
He's been good. He's kind of been one of their more consistent weapons this year. So, and without Cooper and Lamb, they might lean on the tight end a little more. So I would lean to the over there.
Okay. Interesting. Want to give me an anytime touchdown score? Of course you do, because people are listening. They might take your advice. No pressure. But Jared, who are you going with?
Waller. I mean, he's the guy in the red zone for Vegas. He's going to get all the looks. And Dallas has given up. They're in the bottom half of the league in fantasy points against the tight end this year. So I would say Waller's my guy.
Okay.
I would go Tony Pollard at plus 140.
Like that.
Zeke's dealing with a knee issue.
Yeah.
He's not right. Tony Pollard has more juice than Zeke.
Great.
It seems like it'd be a good opportunity potentially to give Pollard more run. I like Pollard. I think that's a better value at 140 than Zeke at minus 170.
Absolutely.
I want to give you one little nugget just for fun. A little trivia question. I like to pop these in there occasionally. Now, the Raiders and Cowboys don't play all that frequently, right? Every 4 years. The last time that both teams were at least 500 when they met was 1995. Who are the coaches in that game, Ross?
I'm going to say Art Shell and Barry Switzer.
Ooh, 1 for 2. Barry Switzer is correct.
Yeah, Barry Switzer was my guess. The Raiders, I'm not as keen on the Raiders, and I was also 9 years old in 1995. So,
do you even remember that Mike White coached the Raiders?
Oh, wow.
Remember him?
Not the Jets, no. Mike White, right?
No, not that one. Former Illinois head coach Mike White.
Wow. I don't remember that.
Not impressed with that trivia question. Okay.
I'm impressed with it, but there's no chance anybody in the galaxy other than a diehard Raiders fan would get that.
Very true. That's what city were the Raiders playing in back? That was Oakland still?
95?
That was Oakland still, right? Yeah. Barely though, right?
I think they had just moved up there.
They just moved to Oakland.
Right?
Just moved.
Crazy.
All
right, last game of the night. Al Michaels taking this one off, by the way. Not working. Bills and Saints. It's a pair of 7 seeds going at it right now. Saints are really sliding. They've lost 3 in a row. Since Jameis has gone down, they have not won. Buffalo has not looked good in 2 of their last 3 games. We thought maybe they were back. A week ago, they had taken care of business against the Jets. They dropped 45. They intercepted Mike White all over the place. And then last week, they got pummeled by the Colts. Right now, Buffalo is a big-time road favorite here, Ross. Does that scare you?
Normally it would, but the Saints are so beat up. I don't think Kamara or Mark Ingram plays. Adam Troutman's out. They lost their left tackle who was filling in for their left tackle, who was filling in for their other left tackle, the rookie Landon Young. I mean, I don't even know who's going to play for the Saints. I don't. I guess Tony Jones. I don't know who their left tackle is. I like the Bill. I would lay the points with the Bills.
Yeah, the sides, it's getting stretched. It's going to – I think it might touch 7 by Thursday night. The Bills are a fascinating team this year. So the stat nerds study variance, and the Bills have a historically high variance rate this year. All 6 of their wins are by 15 points or more. I mean, they are a team that it's either all or nothing, and they haven't lost back-to-back games yet this year. So I think they're going to win this game, and I think a teaser leg, if you want to put the Bills in a teaser leg for Thursday night and then pair it with something else Sunday, getting the Bills now that it's over 6 and you're getting it down to a pick 'em, I think that's a really good spot. But I think if you want me to pick this game from a betting perspective, this is a Josh Allen game. So when Josh Allen plays, when the lights are bright and when it's prime time and when he's playing really important games, important team, big games, he runs the ball. His 3 highest rushing attempt totals this year, 11, 9, and 9 against the Chiefs, Titans, and Steelers. And I know the Saints are not record-wise maybe where, the Chiefs and the Titans are with the top of their conferences, but this is a primetime game on Thanksgiving. I think this is his first Thanksgiving game. I would guess it is. This is a game over 6.5 rush attempts for Josh Allen on FanDuel's plus 106. I don't give out props a ton, but laying the full 7 on the road is tough. I think this is a game that Josh Allen shows you how good he is, and this is a game where I think he's going to use his legs a little bit too.
I think they actually played in Dallas a couple of years ago.
Yeah, you're right. So this is his second Thanksgiving game.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And by the way, the Saints got run all over last week up in Philadelphia. They ran for almost 250 yards against them, and they came in as the number 1 rushing D. I would imagine, though, that Dennis Allen, defensive coordinator of the Saints, is going to pay close attention to that. And by the way, Buffalo doesn't have a running game if Josh Allen's not running.
It's true.
They just don't. It's not.
They couldn't stop Jalen Hurts last week. I think Josh Allen will have some success on the ground.
Yeah. Okay, let's do some over-unders quickly. Ross, Josh Allen, over-under 2.5 passing touchdowns.
Under. I think he runs for 1 or 2.
Yeah.
Okay. Marquez Callaway, over-under 34.5 receiving yards, Jared.
Under. I mean, unless he hit like one big play, I don't really like the Saints offense in this game at all. This is a really tough game for them because the Bills got run over last week. So I would say under.
The only thing I would say here is that the Saints, they wake up in the second half. They sleepwalk through a first half. In the second half, Trevor Siemian always throws for 200 passing yards. So somebody's got to get them.
They're going to be behind, so maybe I'll change my mind. I'll go over on Callaway because game script says they're going to be behind.
Okay. Devin Singletary, part of the missing backfield in Buffalo, Ross, over under 23.5 rushing yards. That's not that many.
Under. I think they like Breida. Now they have like 3 guys doing it.
Yeah.
I'm going Breida.
Or not. Yeah. Okay. So there you go. That'll take us through the 3 games, but we are far from done because we have a Turkey Day teaser. I cannot wait for this stuff. Ross, you want to hit lead off for us on this?
Sure. Tell me what we're doing.
All right, you're not doing the teaser. Jared, you want to hit lead off for us.
So I never do this, and I'll be honest, if this teaser doesn't hit, Jack, our producer, is getting all the blame. But I do every year I do one on Thanksgiving. I do a 10-point 3-team teaser with all 3 games. And I wanted to move the Bills to 4, but I knew that I was going to get a ton of hate on social media because I'm always telling people don't tease through 0. So I said, okay, just for the sake of not getting roasted on social media, I'll take it the other way. I actually like the other 2 spots, moving at 10, Lions from 3 to 13, Raiders from 7.5 to 17.5. And we'll move. This is the one I'm sure I'll go 2-0 and I'll be sweating for this night game. The Saints from 6.5 to 16.5.
Wow.
It's a low total game, so 16.5 and a total of 45 feels right. I don't know where they're going to score. Ross is right. Their offensive line's in shambles. But just for the sake of being relatively plus EV smart with my teaser, I won't tease through 0, which is a no-no in teaser land. So I'll take all the dogs and we'll hope for close games. A dog day Thanksgiving. Lions, Raiders, and Saints. Just hope that we have some close one-score games in the fourth quarter.
Well, this is amazing because all 6 teams that are playing on Thanksgiving are coming off losses. All 6 of them. So,
interesting.
And you've got some teams that are playing for their postseason lives at this point, i.e. the Saints, the Raiders. I don't know what they're playing for in the first game, but I'm sure it'll be something.
That's a game only a gambler can love. My mom used to tell me you have a face only a mother could love as a joke. She loves my face, but that Lions-Bears game is a game only a gambler can love.
Yeah. Can we go back 1 second? I whiffed on this. The anytime touchdown in the Saints-Bills, because you guys talked down that the Saints will never score a touchdown. Ross, give me somebody that is going to score a touchdown.
Josh Allen. Desperate times call for desperate measures. He'll be running, scrambling. They need the win like blood. He will run for a touchdown.
I'll be honest. I think if there was a Saints player to score on Thanksgiving, just because Ross kind of gave the one that I liked was Allen. I think Mark Ingram, feel good story, return to New Orleans, part 2, gets to play on Thanksgiving night. I think Mark Ingram finds the end zone.
That's a cute one.
Yeah.
And once again, you can use or not use that information, but we want you to play, okay? We want you to have a chance to win $100. All you have to do, follow us on YouTube, you subscribe, you hit the subscribe button, then leave a comment about who's going to score a touchdown in any one of the 3 games. It has to be in there by kick of the first game, which is 12:30 Eastern on Thanksgiving Day. If you hit it, you're going to get entered for a chance to win $100, courtesy of Pickswise. It's all very simple. Plus, you keep getting our shows. Plus, you'll have a chance to win $100. Seems very simple. All right, guys, rest up, but don't go far because we are going to have part 2 as we're going to break down all the Sunday games and the Monday night affair as well, because we got some big games. You got Green Bay and the Rams. You've got the Ravens and the Browns. You've got the Bengals and the Steelers. A lot of ground to cover. And, of course, it is very simple here in Pickswise Playbook. Go win some dough.